great many months ago, Xenotropos hosted this thing called Draw to Drop. It's essentially an internet scavenger hunt where you get a riddle and then you have to go on the internet and find a very specific piece of information which you then bring back to her, and if you have the right piece of information, you win art. And I actually won this. I'm not sure what this is, but this is, I believe, a hippogriff. Something I never heard of until I won this. However, I've been meaning to show this off on the channel for a few months, but I've been putting it off because I didn't want to just do a video about one singular piece of art. I actually wanted to make a whole thing out of it. And then I found out that Xenotropos makes coloring book pages, and I've been wanting to try that out for a while, so that's actually what I'm doing today. Now, she probably has more than just these two sets of coloring pages. However, there is a Critters and Creatures one and a Greek mythology one, and I decided to take a page out of the Creatures and Critters one because there's a dragon. It's this little dragon right here. I love him. He's pretty. And I mean, it might be a girl, but I'm going with guy because I don't know. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try some new techniques that I've never used before, and I realize this is a very ambitious thing to do for my first coloring page. However, I have these water-based markers that I got from the dollar store that were advertised as blendable water-based markers, which is interesting, but I'm also going to use my trusty colored pencils that I got from the dollar store. So this is a bit of a dollar store art challenge, although that's a little bit old at this point. But I'm not going to be using these markers the normal way people use markers, because I saw this technique that people do where they use water-based markers like watercolors, and I've done a little bit of watercolor work before, so I'm pretty confident I can do this well. But let me explain. So essentially the idea is that you take the marker and you basically color it down onto a palette surface of some kind. In my case, it's a little plastic lid from a Tupperware container. And then you add water to dilute the ink from the marker to make it lighter and a little bit more desaturated. And then you use a paintbrush to put that down like you would with watercolor. And then once that layer dries, you use colored pencil over top of it, which means that there's no white paper to cover up, which means it's not absolutely necessary to burnish the page down because you have a nice background color, and then you can just work on the shading and the details and highlights, which is something that I've never done before, but I think it's a cool concept and I want to try it out. I'd also like to mention that Xenotropos not only has a website, which I want to put in the description of this video, but she's also started doing her own process videos of her artwork here on YouTube. And I think it would be absolutely wonderful if everyone would go check her videos out, because her art is absolutely wonderful, as you can already tell based on the piece that I'm working on right now. And I really believe that she deserves more support and appreciation for the wonderful things she creates. And I really want to thank her for inspiring me throughout this last year and a half. We've never really talked until I moved into this small town last year, and I realized that my roommate is actually close friends with her, and then we became close friends. And yeah, I've seen her art around a lot, but I was always a little bit too shy to say hello, because despite the fact that I am also an artist, I'm a very shy person. And I just feel like it's weird to reach out to someone and say, hey, you're an artist, I'm an artist, that's a thing we have in common, let's be friends! Regardless, I'm very much enjoying this coloring page experience so far, and I'm really enjoying being able to kind of sort of collaborate with her and color in one of her pieces, which is something that I honestly didn't think would happen. It's not like an official collaboration or anything, but it kind of feels like one. Throughout my entire time of being creative, I've never done a coloring book. I've never colored in anyone else's artwork, and it's kind of a strange place to be at right now, where I'm actually doing the coloring for somebody else's line work, but it's kind of a cool experience. Because this experience means that I get to see what my coloring looks like with somebody else's art style, and it kind of teaches me some things. Okay, so I'm done, and I was able to film the entire process. However, because I attached a really wobbly camera mount to the same table that I was coloring on, everything looked like it came out of a massive earthquake and was completely unusable. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am. Either way, this is the finished piece, and I am quite happy with it. And you're probably wondering how I consider this finished when there's a whole bunch of uncolored stuff around the outside, and that's because I had so much fun using two different techniques I've never used before that I want to challenge myself in a future video to use two new techniques to fill in the rest of it. I still need to figure out exactly which techniques I want to try, but this went so much better than I thought it was going to. And you know what? I've been doing traditional art for mere months, and the shading job that I did on this, despite not being absolutely perfect, is so much better than the first time I used colored pencils this year, and I didn't rely on black at all. In fact, I barely used it. I used it in a couple little places just to add a slight tone to it. But overall, I pretty much just used different hues and different shades of those hues rather than trying to rely on black for all the shadows. And I can't remember which of the many artists I watch on YouTube who taught me that trick, but I am super thankful for it, and I definitely recommend not touching your black colored pencil unless it's absolutely super necessary. But I digress. Please go check out Xenotropos' website as well as her channel. I believe that she still sells these or has these for download. I'm not entirely sure. I will check if they do exist. I will drop a link directly to the coloring pages as well. You should take up this challenge and color some of her work because, well, I mean, there's many different coloring books out there, but her art is wonderful. Give her some love, and hell, if you do decide to do one of her coloring pages, hashtag DragonBoyXeno. I'll put that on the screen. But I want to see your versions of her work. But without further ado, I've been Dragon Boy. You've been absolutely incredible. Again, go check out Xenotropos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.